I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I coach people. I do career and leadership coaching. I'm the head coach for JobSearch.CoachingHQ.com. That's a site where I have curated information you can watch, listen to, or read that will help you find work more quickly. I say that because there's just so much there, particularly around interviewing, which I've made a focus of the site. And here I'm going to talk with you about negotiating. Now, the truth of the matter is, this is a video that's going to be useful whether you're trying to negotiate your job offer as a job hunter or as an employer, because the reality is deal dynamics exist in any situation. Anytime you're negotiating, these are the variations that you have to deal with. So for you as a job hunter, you may hear an employer ask the question, so where are you in your search? What else is going on for you? And you know what they're trying to find out? It's really very simple. What they're trying to find out is, do they have competition? Whether you have leverage to play with them, whether there's a situation where you as an employer, you as a job hunter can really bargain with them because, hey, it doesn't matter. You've got three things going on. Thus, when you don't have anything going on, they think they've got an advantage. And thus, the correct answer for the job hunter is always to say, I'm very close to two other things right now. I really like this one a lot, but the reality is, as I said to someone yesterday, you may not have noticed this, but there's no one with my name on the Forbes or Fortune list of wealthiest Americans. So compensation is important to me. And thus, I want to encourage you to make your strongest offer because I'm confident other firms are about to do that as well. And thus, what you've done is signal to them that, hey, they don't have the leverage here. They can't really push your buttons and say, do you want to keep looking for a job or do you want this job? Especially in recessionary times where people don't really have choices, it's always very important to indicate that you certainly will have choices. You're about to have choices and not give them that advantage, because ultimately this is a question that signals who wants this more, and the one who wants it more is more willing to compromise. Do you want to compromise? And for you as a hiring manager who's in a situation hearing this, often if this is your first choice, you're starting to look at your second choice as a possibility, but stick with your first one and ride that out because you never know if they're bluffing or not. Is there a time constraint here? Like, does the employer have to bring on someone by end of year, by end of budget year, some other variable, because they have to start a new project? What's making it right now that they want to hire you? And thus, what alternatives do they have? Now, sometimes an employer is going to try and regain leverage by saying, well, I've got two other people I'm talking with on finals. What's your timeline? Or I've got two other people that I'm talking with, and they're signaling to you that, much like you've signaled to them that you have choices, they're trying to say that they have choices too. That's fine. Now, job hunters often respond with that knot in the pit of their stomach that says, I'm going to lose this. And the idea is you always want to draw them in. And for you as the employer, you never want to give your leverage away, because the reality is, ultimately, yes, you will have other choices. You've decided this is your first one, but you want to get them at the right price, right? So ultimately, what you're trying to do is to see, who wants it more? What alternatives exist? What's the timeline for decision making? Can you move the needle forward right now? What's the real price point to complete the transaction? Ultimately, when I think about most negotiations from a comp perspective for job hunters or employers, one side really wants it more than the other and is willing to make fewer accommodations to the other side. So I want to remind you, these are the deal dynamics. And, once you're on board, there are other situations where you're dealing with deal dynamics as well. And this subject is going to surface time and time again. And you need to remind yourself, even in, internal situation, who wants this more? Who has the leverage here? And how can you get what you want out of the situation without excessive compromise? Notice I use the phrase excessive compromise rather than compromise. Ideally, you want to do it without compromise, but I've got a lot more content about salary negotiation. If you go to JobSearchTV.com, that'll take you to my YouTube channel, or you could visit my website, thebiggamehunter.us, where I have all my content in a way that's not curated. So ultimately, go to the playlist on YouTube for salary negotiation. On my website, go to the category that talks about salary negotiation. There's a lot more there that has tactics as well as strategy. So I hope you found this helpful. If you're interested in my coaching, you reach out to me through LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/The Big Game Hunter. Mention that you saw the video, because I like knowing that I'm helping some folks. And again, if you're interested in my coaching you, what I want to encourage you to do is message me and we'll set up a time for a discovery call. If you have questions for me about your search or about a negotiation, 2 ways to reach me, because I won't respond and do the work for free through LinkedIn. I get too many messages there for free consulting. No, I don't do it. So the way to do it is you contact me through an app called Magnify, Magnifi. It's iOS only, so we can have a chat that way, or through PrestoExperts.com, where I take a phone call from you. Hope you have a great day. Take care.